What's up? What's up, my people? This is your boy JFK. We're in here, man. It's Stimulus Friday on JFK Live, man. How you doing? Hopefully you have been stimulated. If you have not been stimulated yet, just calm down. Calm down. Yo, listen, man. It's a different energy today. It's a different energy because I am upset. I'm upset because this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, man. Heart goes out to Georgia. My heart goes out to the Asian community, Asian American community. It's a horrible time. If you're here, drop me a line. Let me know you know what to do. Drop me a line. Let me know you're here. Let me know. So it's a crazy time, man. They're out there shooting people. They're out there killing people, and I don't understand. I just don't understand why your issue has to lead to the death of other people. Why are you having issues and other people are dying? This is crazy. This is crazy. And the way the system is handling these debts is unacceptable. I mean, no more. We're done. Let nobody come here and argue about systemic racism anymore. We're done. There's no more argument. There's no more argument right now. We can tell that this system treats certain people differently than others. It's over. It's over. If you're here, drop me a line, drop me a comment. What's going on? It's your boy JFK. We're here. Stimulus Friday. Stimulus Friday. Have you been stimulated? Are you a stimulant? Is your stimulation stimulated? Yo. So you know what? It's one of those things where I just want to understand why. What's going on in this country? Right? Why you so ready to take the lives of other people? You know why? I mean, it's sad. It's sad because you're sitting there and you're making a decision to go into a spa. You're making a decision to go into a spa and to begin shooting people. And this is just so mind blowing that when you're arrested, when someone like this is arrested and the police are questioning them, I don't know what it is that makes people think that it's okay to talk more and think more about the shooter than the victims. It's disturbing. People have lost their lives, and we're gonna sit here and pretend like this guy, this killer, deserves to be analyzed in this man. At least right now, right now. How about we talk about he killed? If you're here, drop me a line. It's JFK. Let me know how you feel about Georgia and what happened to these people, about all the anti-Asian hate. And one of the things I wanted to bring up was as an African in America, as a black person, I don't subscribe to this thing where people want to bring up how Asians in Asia, some Asians in Asia have treated some black people, right? I don't want to bring that up. I'm not about that because I feel like everyone should be able to deal with, every community should be given the opportunity to deal with what they're dealing with. Because you can never tell me that it's the same people that have been discriminating against black people. You can't tell me that those are the same people that are getting killed by racist white people here because there's no correlation. There's no correlation. It's not the same. It's not the same group of people. It's not the same group of people. So when you're talking to me about, people in Asia have been treating Africans and black people a certain way, that is a conversation that we should have. But that is not a reason for us not to understand what just happened in Georgia. You see what I'm saying? Like, I mean, hate over here should not stop me from acknowledging hate over here. You can process these things in your brain. Now we are able to hold these thoughts, multiple thoughts at the same time. So this guy goes in there and then he shoots these people. On the flyer, I tried to have a picture of, the people that were killed, because I just feel like, these are lives that were taken. And it's bad enough that coronavirus done so much in terms of affecting our lives. It's bad enough. But for people to lose their lives because some dude somewhere feels like, he has the right to go. Think about some of the things that we've been told that this nonsense guy said. He feels that he has a right to go and take some people's lives of what he thinks they represent. And it's the ultimate sense of privilege. It's the ultimate sense of privilege to think that you have the right to take someone's life because of something you believe about them, because of something you think about them. I mean, where do you get that? Where does that come from? This prejudice is one thing, but the prejudice that gives you the boldness to think that you can go and take another person's life, that's a different level. Like we should condemn that. We should fight that. We should fight it. We should fight it in rhetoric. We should fight it in thought. Because don't forget, these things are manifestations of something that starts as a seed. Because once you start describing a group of people as less than, once you start describing a group of people as unworthy, once you start attaching a group of people to negative concepts and context, you're giving permission. You're giving permission that to some crazies. I mean, I don't want to use crazies. You're giving permission to some people to go ahead and base their actions on the prejudice that has been created. And it is so sad. It is so sad. It's so disturbing that you have people who are still willing to go out there and to yell, no, China virus. And this is a stupid argument to have. People, oh, you say, oh, why can't I say China virus? Isn't it from China? Because you're not a 2-year-old, right? Hopefully, you're not a moron. You're not a numbskull, right? Because even though you can say, you know what? Even though you can say that the virus is from China, right? Even though you can say that the virus is from China, yes. But when you notice that saying China virus is leading to anti-Asian hate, because you're not a 2-year-old, you calm down with that nonsense, right? If you notice your words are part of an echo chamber that's escalating something, causing trauma and violence to some other people, you don't have to say that joint. Not to mention it's not helping us. We had a moron of a president spend the entire virus season naming the virus. The idiot just kept calling it China virus, kung flu. Yeah, well, that didn't help us from losing 500,000 Americans. That's the stupidity of it, isn't it? You're a moron. You know what's going on? Who's out there? Is it Mateos? Thanks for coming on, brother. We're all beautiful. Celebrate you. Celebrate you. Talking about let's have some more love in the world right now, man. Let's have some more love. This hate thing is wrong, man. Like you just took out 8 people. You took out 8 people in 2021. Those 8 people are not going to experience summer. They're not going to experience the spring break. They're not going to experience. I mean, I put some of the pictures of some of the deceased. You got a single mother who's been raising her 2 boys all these years, and you just took her life now. You just took her life. She's not going to be here when those boys grow up and they begin to do well. This woman's not going to be around to enjoy the fruit of her labor. You know, you know what I mean? Yeah, Mateus. Yeah, I'm gonna add you once I get off. Yeah, appreciate you coming on, man. Yeah. Just talking about this love, man. Like we can't have this anymore. And I'm telling my brothers and sisters, African Americans, whatever race you are, whatever ethnic group, let's rally around people when they suffer, right? Right now, the Asian American community is going through a lot of hate. I say we rally around. I say we come around and say no to such hatred. Let's stop the hate. Let's stop the hate. These are our brothers and sisters, you know. And you know what? I hear people come out and say, "Oh, what about what they've been doing?" This is not the time for that, and this is not the location either. Because unless you can tell me that the people that were shot in Georgia, unless you can prove to me that, oh yeah, I seen them, they're the same ones that discriminated against Africans, all over Asia. Tell me it's the same person. Maybe then we can have a discussion of whether or not this is retaliation or this is revenge or this is karma for what they did in China last week. But until you can show me that these same people that got killed are the same people who are discriminating against Black people in Asia, then let's cut that noise. Stop that. Stop that. This is their moment to voice out, and this is our moment to rally around them. You see, we need to stop the hate at every turn. That's how we can get rid of all of it. I'm not going to sit here and try to fight discrimination against my people and then be quiet when I'm noticing discrimination against another group of people next to me. That's dumb. That's how we end up never getting rid of it. That's how we end up always being in the middle of this nonsense. We need to rally around the people whose suffering is prominent right now. That's my position on this. We need to rally around the Asian community. That's all it is. That's just common sense. Because you see, when you're quiet, when a group is suffering like this, and you only want to fight when your attack is prominent, then you're feeding the system, right? You're feeding the beast that's killing all of us. That's the problem. That's the problem. We need to come together and we need to fight all the hate at once. You know what I mean? Yeah, if you're here, drop me a line, man. My people were talking about, to stop the hate, stop the hate, stop the hate. The killings in Georgia have been on my mind, and it's been ridiculous. And I just feel like, we need to find a way to have a conversation about, first of all, we should all be on the same page at some of that's I think that's the first issue. We should all be on the same page. We should all be on the same page. I shouldn't be tuning into, like, to see people commenting and noticing that a lot of people want to bring in other conversations. You see, that's the thing that's making me upset. We're talking about hate against Asians right now. I tell you, right, the plate is full. There's hate everywhere, man. There's horrible things going on. Everybody's going through. But all I'm saying is, right now, there's a louder volume on the hate against Asian Americans, and that's the one to fight. Let's come together and help them out. Let's come together and speak up. Let's come together in every way we can, politically, socially, whatever we can do, social media. Let's stop the hate. Let's stop the hate, because I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, that community's going through it, I'm gonna wait. That's not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it. And I hate that when something like this comes up. It's the same things when we're talking about Black Lives Matter, right? And someone wants to come with a slogan, say all lives matter. And it's like, if I didn't agitate, if I didn't stand up and fight for my people and what we're going through, would you have come up with your slogan? Because that means your slogan is only a reaction to my agitation. And that's disingenuous. That means you're just rising up because I rose up, and you're just rising up to silence me. And so you're not justified at all in your noise, because your noise is not organic. Your noise is a way of you rejecting my noise about what I'm dealing with. And that will never be right. And as we can see, the hypocrisy of that is what happened on January 6th, right? So the same people that it was all lives matter, blue lives matter, when it got to a point where they wanted something for them, they didn't care about any of the lives, right? They trampled over police officers, because you see, that shout of the blue lives matter was never genuine. All that blue lives matter, all lives matter was never genuine. There were only slogans in reaction to a genuine slogan saying Black Lives Matter. Just if you're just reacting to my fight for justice, you know what I mean? Yeah, Matthias says all Black Lives Matter is just Black Americans fighting for a seat at the white man. That's it. If I'm fighting for a seat at a table, don't be mad at me for fighting. Don't be mad at me for trying to get more room for my people, right? Because we all know what the table looks like. This is the thing that is, we like playing games, but we know the truth. The table, it looks like a bunch of white people sitting there and deciding what happens to everyone else. Cool, so they got there first. I mean, the fact that they trampled on my ancestors to get there is an issue. We're gonna keep talking about that. But good, we are where we are. Now, if you find me fighting for space, you know what? If you find me fighting for space, then all of a sudden, if I'm fighting for space, then all of a sudden, you're gonna get mad for me trying to get space on the table. A liberal left-wing Jewish village. I think it's bigger than that. It's not about that. It's not about one person. It's not about that. It's about a culture, it's about a history of people who've been oppressed by another group of people, and it's time for us to fight and fight back. And so when you see this kind of you know what? If you see this kind of hate against a group of people, don't ignore it. And I'm saying this because a lot of my brothers and sisters, so I've seen some people out there, when we're talking about this, they want to come up and say, well, how about, some of the discrimination that some people have experienced, from the Asian community. And it's like, you can have that conversation, but this context is not the context for it. Because if 8 people have just been murdered and slaughtered, 6 of them of Asian descent, and we have a nationwide, rise in attacks against Asians, then this moment is to talk about the hate against Asians and to fight that. We can compartmentalize moments. This is the thing. Like, why are we acting like 2-year-olds, right? People act like, we can only, think about one thing. That our minds are complex enough to pick up different things. Right now, in this moment, one issue is rising to the surface, and it is hate against Asian Americans. Yeah, but that's the thing, Mateus. You see, I love what you just said right there. I will ignore Asian American because I never seen Asians speak against Letitia Williams. But that's my thing. So you're gonna do what you hated that they did. Now talk to me about that. How is that a better way to go? You're upset because you don't believe that the Asian community spoke up when the issues of African Americans came up. And that's legitimate, right? That's legitimate. But I'll push back to tell you there's a lot of Asian Americans and Asians who did speak up. They may not be as many as you wanted. They may not be as prominent as you wanted, but some of them speak up. But here's my thing. You're not gonna do what you hated that someone else did and think that things are gonna get better. That's why we're still here, bro. That's why we're still here. That's why it's still happening. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's a war, it's a battle. If our strategy in this battle is for us to say that we will not care about anyone else but us, then we're all gonna keep suffering. We're all gonna keep suffering. We need to change that. We need to change that. I saw the stories. I posted about the stories, in China, they treated African exchange students as slaves, banned them from shopping. And we need to fight that fight. But that fight does not stop you and me from fighting the fight about what's going on here. That's all I'm saying. We can't do that. We can't segregate our movement to the point where, all right, I'm gonna sit back, camping for non-blacks, bro. I'm from Nigeria, man. Forget that now. Don't give me that. Don't bring me that joy. Capping for non-blacks. I'm telling you that hate begets hate. It's the dumbest strategy I've ever seen. That's why we still losing. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I never cap for. Let me calm down. Let me calm down. I mean, I'm not familiar with your politics, and maybe you're just seeing me right now. But I be all about all of that. I'm just doing my life for me, man. Sometimes I get my people come on. Sometimes it's just me talking. But I'll be on here for all of it, bro. So let's not start with that. Everybody's oppressed, bro. But what I'm telling you is, if you're gonna do what you're talking about, and segregate the ones you're gonna fight for and the ones you're gonna let suffer, then the oppression you're talking about is gonna continue. The Ghanaian law, the Nigerian law, Ugandan law, there are carve-outs against LGBT communities in all those nations. You're gonna have that. What I'm telling you is, if you're gonna say to me that, because I don't see you fighting for me for my group, then when your group is in trouble, I'm gonna just be here, in the chomping on some popcorn. I say, do you, but understand that we all gonna keep suffering in this war. That's the thing. Because it's either we're better people than that, and we hate discrimination wherever we find it, or we fight discrimination wherever it comes up. Whether it be against people for sexual orientation, whether it be for race, ethnicity, you got to be somebody who stands up and says what is wrong is wrong. But if you're gonna be out here saying, I'm only going to cap for like my crew, do you, man? You have your right to do that, but don't you complain when stuff keep happening and nothing's changing. You're not gonna get changed that way. We're gonna sing the same song generationally. Our kids are gonna sing the same song. If we're gonna keep just deciding that, I'm not gonna help, I'm not gonna be concerned about that group, then good luck with that strategy. It hasn't worked so far anyway. Because these things require coalitions, y'all. That's the thing I'm trying to bring out. We need coalitions, we need groups of people to come together. They're going to have their own individual interests, but they're going to come together. What are you talking about? Why am I going to fight for LGBTQ community first? Is that the first group that was oppressed? What are you talking about? That's my issue with you. Is that the first oppression? That's not how it works. It's about what's going on right now. If you hear a story about 6 Asians executed in a salon, in an atmosphere where Asian Americans, at least here in the country, we can say Asian American hate is on the rise. Oh, Matthias, now you're just having fun. I see you now. You're just having fun. Believe in yourself first, nigga. Oh, at my big age. Oh, right. Yeah, because before you came along, I never believed it. Now that you've said it, activate belief in myself. Yeah, oh, all of a sudden. Oh, I see clearly now. Because Mateos just reminded me to believe in myself because I never thought of that before. That's profound, bro. Are you serious right now? You're fun. I mean, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. You're fun. But my bottom line doesn't change. This fight is a fight for coalitions. That's why everybody's losing, because everybody's fighting in their own corner. Everybody's fighting for their own crew. And that joint never works because you need size, man. You need size. We need to be a bigger voice. We need to combine voices, bro. That's when you become a megaphone. If we're gonna be staying in our corners, then just get ready because this joint will never end. And in any case, the humanity in us should be able to scream for any group that's suffering, right? So if I'm out here telling you, like, this moment right now, let's go ahead, let's defend our Asian American brothers and sisters. Let's do that. And the next moment, let's defend whichever group is in the pot right now, getting stoked. That's strategic. Now you got a tactic. Now you got a system. Because we know that in terms of numbers, we need to have coalitions. All right. Every victory you want to record, you know, listen, man, yeah. I mean, now you're just spouting, so that's fine too. I mean, hey, it's a free world, it's a free page. Black men will never be megaphones. You are a slave of America. that's that's an ignorant statement, man. That's a lazy statement. That's intellectually lazy. That's when you don't want to have a conversation. You just throw out. I don't know where you heard that. I don't know where you heard that, but that's kind of stuff you hear. And just like I bet you like to hear yourself say that out or tweet that out. But it's lazy. It's intellectually lazy. There's no conversation in that. There's no conversation in that, bro. That's a dumb statement. Because if you talk a black man will never make you're a slave of America, what does that mean, bro? What does that mean? Have you been to Africa? Do you understand that some Africans enslave other Africans? Do you understand that entire continents in Africa are fighting for freedom from African leaders? Do you know any of that? Do you know anything? Calm down with that, bro. Don't come here with that. That's lazy. That's weak. We're having a conversation. Have a conversation. You gotta get intellectually grown on this matter. You know what I mean? You're not going to throw slogans out here like that, man. You're not talking to somebody who hasn't been to anywhere. You're not talking to somebody who hasn't seen stuff, man. Like that's lazy. Come at me with something bigger, man. Something real. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what you keep doing. That slave, man. You can't spell slave, bro. Like that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, man. I just told you I'm from Nigeria, man. Like, you know what? It's like you have no clue who I am. Tariq Nasheed exposed Ghanaians. So all of Ghanaians, he exposed all Ghanaians, bro? Because all Ghanaians are the same dude? What are you talking about? You're making this fun for me. I mean, tonight, I could devote tonight to all that. What does that mean? Do you know how many Ghanaians live in Ghana? Do you know how diverse they are? He exposed Ghanaians. Which Ghanaians did he expose? The ones from the previous generation or the current ones? What are you talking about? That's that simplistic approach. It will never work. When you look at things through those lenses, you're wrong because you're never taking into consideration the diversity in every population. That's where you're missing it. It's like somebody coming and telling me, oh, all Nigerians are X, or all Nigerians. That's dumb. That's dumb. The number of tribes and ethnic groups within Nigeria already destroys whatever theory you have about Nigerians. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And you see, human beings are individuals. And this is the kind of mindset that leads to the kind of thing we saw in Georgia. Generalizations, thinking of a group of people as a monolith, right? You hear about, oh, the flu, the coronavirus is from China. You call it a Chinese virus, and somehow every person of Chinese descent is connected to the virus. That's the dumbest, that's the laziest way for a mind to work. because you don't bother to understand how everyone is different. You don't bother to separate, for instance, the Chinese government from the Chinese people. You see what I'm saying? Oh, now you see, at least now you're coming out and telling me who you are. You are the same to me. Good. So you're a bigot. You're prejudiced. That's good. I see. I like that because that way we don't. You see, that way we don't run around talking around each other. You're a prejudiced individual. You have a biased mind. You think a whole continent of people are the same to you. That's all right that you believe that. But you started out like maybe you were like wiser than that. But now you're making it clear. I get, and that's good, bro. I appreciate that. Oldest African G speak uncolonized. What are you talking? Okay, I'm gonna just calm down. I'm just calm down. You want to be an African sage of some sort, but you don't have the credentials. And I feel your pain. I feel your pain. Now, like I feel your pain. You're out here generalizing. It's the dumbest thing anyone could do. That's what's leading to what we're going through right now. You look at a group of people and you give them a name without understanding that there are different kinds of people in every group, right? Yeah. That's about the only thing you know about Nigeria is jollof, man, which is fine. Which is fine. It is intellectually. I'm disappointed because I feel like if this is the kind of mindset that's going around, then we'll never get out of all the stuff we're in, right? Because if we're incapable of thinking beyond labels and slogans, and if we can't go beyond stereotypes, then we're already doomed. And I hope that over time, there's a generation coming that's going to have less of that. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Oh, yeah. Now you're going on mediocre on me, man. Cheap plastic rice. Oh, what it must be to have your mind, man. Your mind is amazing, bro. Your mind is amazing. But you know what? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. We know Nigeria adopt Mandarin language. Which Nigerians adopted Mandarin language? Oh my goodness, yo. Yo, this is amazing tonight, man. So let me tell you something, man. One of the things that I enjoy about doing this is like you get to realize what the problem is. You get to realize what the problem is because I always ask myself, what's going on out there? Why is it that people are, you know, why is it that people are so engrossed in their stuff? Right? What is it that's making people engrossed in their stuff? This is an example. It's an example because you have people who you're just into slogans, you're into buzzwords, but you're never ready to have a real conversation about what the problem is. And if that's what we have going around, then it's no surprise that some dude will leave his house, go to a spa, execute 8 people, and then come out and try to explain that he's got a sex addiction that makes him see those people as examples of temptation. That's what I'm talking about. You know, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, all LGBT lives matter. You know what I mean? But I don't understand how that means that no other lives can be talked about. I don't understand how you don't understand how that's part of a continuum. That's part of a set. You know, you can stand with that, but it doesn't mean you stand against Asians. That's the dumb part. You don't stand with a group and then say to hell with the other group. That's how we end up where we are. Because that group you're standing with is not going to be safe either. They're not going to be all right either. Because if there's dichotomy among those of us who are fighting for equality, fighting for safety of all groups, if we're having fights amongst each other about who should we defend, then we're all going to get it. Because whoever it is that if we're leaving one group, you're forcing that group to face the oppression alone. When your time comes, they leave you too. And when you get to a point, you'll find that none of the groups have enough numbers in themselves to fight. Oh man. Oh, finally the moron in you is coming out. It's nice to meet you, idiot. You're taking me out of my game, so I'm gonna calm down with that. I'm gonna calm down with that. You don't know the words you're using. That's the funny part of it. You're too dumb to actually decipher what you're saying. You don't know what these things mean. You're one of those dudes you've heard some stuff. You've heard you can't even decide what prejudice to use, bro. Your prejudice is everywhere. Make up your mind, bro. Because if you're talking about somebody that's a house nigga, You're relating them to being slaves to or the white master. But if you calling them a servant of the Asian master, you have to find a different description for that. Do you understand how history works? Do you get it at all? You can't get it because that mind of yours is mush. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. I am glad to know that there are people like this out there because it makes me realize why we're in the trouble we're in. You, this dude, this dude is spouting stuff. He doesn't understand a word. You know what I mean? But that's what life is, man. We got all kinds of people in here. And the reality is, until we make a change, until we change how we talk, until we change how we look at these things, then there's no way we can get better. There's no way we can get better. It's like you just spouting stuff. There's no thinking behind it. You're one of those cats who you hear a slogan there, hear a slogan here, and you're building your whole life philosophy on slogans, on one-liners that you're hearing, and that's flimsy. That's lazy. You're building an intellectual house of cards. I mean, you're the kind of dude that can be swayed by any wind. I don't know who you're listening to, bro, but you need to start learning to listen from within yourself. So you're not just out here spouting stuff. You just my man just spout the slogans, yo. It's intellectually lazy, but I get it. If that's all you got, that's all you got. You can't give what you don't have, right? Right? You can't give what you don't have because you're not capable of engaging in actual conversation, right? Oh wow, you're not capable of engaging. You know what I'm saying? So I get you. I know what you're about. So you know what? That's fine. That's fine by me. But I will continue to put the situation, in perspective. What I'm saying is Africans and African Americans and all other groups, we need to come together to fight. We need to come together to fight, because we can't allow oppression around us and then pretend like we're not concerned. We can't do that because this is going to be something where we need to be able to you need to speak now. Amen. We need to keep the same energy when others are going through it. We need to be consistent. Are we against discrimination or not? Or are we only against discrimination when it comes to certain people? That's all it is. If you're here, drop me a line. It's your boy Jeffy. I've been having a crazy conversation with a new viewer. I had to put him on block for a minute because he just going further down into the abyss. Yeah, if you're here, it's your boy FK Live. Let me know what's going on. So I'm saying that we have to fight discrimination everywhere we find it. We got to fight this thing everywhere. We got to speak up now. From our African community, our African American community, we need to speak up against the hate against Asians. And I understand. I hear people when they tell me, "Oh, how about the way Africans are being treated in China? How about the way Africans are being treated in Asia?" You see, I'm saying I always say this: we can have all the conversations at the same time. We can condemn the discrimination against Africans in Asia. We can keep condemning that. But we can also condemn the discrimination against Asians where we are. We can do both because that's the only way we can show that our beef is with discrimination. Even though the discrimination we're against can now be broken down into, racial discrimination, gender discrimination, ethnic discrimination. We can break down the discriminations we hate or that we dislike that we're fighting against. But it shouldn't stop us from being able to fight for certain types of discrimination. Because what we're trying to say is that every human life has dignity, right? So if we're starting with that premise, whether or not this person is an Asian, is an African American, we need to stand up for the dignity of human life in every facet. We need to do that. That's when we can form a bigger group. You see, when you're fighting against all discrimination, you're in a bigger group because you have more. You have a bigger tent. You've included more people. And the thing about that is, in all of these battles, we need more people. We need more. We need to be stronger. We need to be louder. So you're not going to sit there and just say, I'll only fight or I'll only be concerned about discrimination when it affects my community. That's the wrong way to go. If you're here, drop me a line. My peoples. I know somebody already told me that this the time shift is an issue for many people. I get it. Where there's no, we're coming back a little bit, man. Work is changing, schedules are changing, so we're trying to figure out what a good time is to do this. But I don't want to let this week go without this, particularly in light of what happened. Our hearts go out to all the victims out there and the families of the victims in Georgia. We just have to speak up against this hatred. You know, we just have to speak up against this hate. And that's why I look at this story. And everybody, you saw most people saw my post, but it's not only about the killer, right? It's not only about the kid who comes out and shoots all these people. The system is also indicted. The system is indicted because after killing all these people, and he gets arrested, and we have a press conference from the police officers, we have a press conference from the authorities. The first thing we're hearing is about the mental state of the killer and what set him off, and not just that what set him, because that's part of the investigation, but this attempt to infuse his narrative into the conversation as though that were the truth that we're going to be going with, right? Because everybody's looking at this and going, 6 people of Asian descent were killed out of 8. He targeted Asian businesses. Apparently he was actually going after another Asian business. And the sheriff's spokesperson had the nerve to come out in describing, what this killer told them, which is fine. You understand? Like, you can have the conversation of, this is what our investigation reveals, but it was brought up as though that was the gospel truth. If you're here, drop me a line. Let me know what's going on. We're talking about, ending the hate. And I'm saying how, those of us, African Americans, we need to be part of the noise against the hate against Asians. We can't turn our backs on this particular fight. We can't turn our backs on this fight, because discrimination anywhere is discrimination everywhere. And we need to be able to, you see, if we raise enough of the alarm, if we had the right reaction, we'll be able to create a situation where everyone knows that all discrimination is going to be met with resistance. That's where we're going. We're saying no hate against Asian Americans, no hate against, African Americans, no hate against Jewish Americans, no hate against Italian Americans, no hate against Caucasian Americans, just no hate. Just no hate. We can live better if we just don't hate. Now, we can have issues, right? We could have individual beef. You and I could get into it. You and I may not get along on personal level, because those are personality issues, right? Like, if you're obnoxious, man, if you get on my last nerve, man, maybe you could have issues. Maybe we can sort it out. But I'm not about to indict your entire race, bro. That's my thing. I'm not about to look at your entire ethnicity as the problem. This is why, like, someone like a Donald Trump was so dangerous. And a lot of people kept, when conversations, people said, "Oh, why are you so against, this dude?" I'm never against the dude. I'm against what he's unleashing. And what we're seeing right now is an effect of that. It's an effect of what he unleashed. Because you got people who feel like it's open season, right? You have people who feel like they can come out now and they can start attacking. People who feel like they can come out now and they can start misbehaving and dealing with different ethnic groups in derogatory ways. You got a guy who thinks he can take a gun, go to a spa, kill the people in there, and have an explanation for us. I mean, the insults to the injury, right? The audacity of this fool to say that, oh, he was trying to eradicate the temptation. Like, it's like someone's life. You're using other people's lives as pawns in your game, as chess pieces. Like, I'm going to remove these lives because of something I believe about those people. And we need to fight that. We need to stand up against that. We need to say we will not tolerate that. Don't let them use that narrative. They don't deserve to do that. The individuals that died, they deserve or they deserve to be honored, and their lives deserve to be put up, and so the rest of us can honor them. Because whatever it is their lifestyles were, whatever it is, whatever issues they had in their lives, they did not deserve to lose their lives like this. And that's what we say when we're talking about police brutality. Every time they want to come up and tell us, oh, every time they shoot a black person, an unarmed black person is killed. People want to come up with, oh, but yeah, but he smoked marijuana. Are you out of your mind? What has that got to do with it? Smoking marijuana does not equal a death sentence. You don't kill a dude because he smoked marijuana. So I don't understand. Don't tell me about the reasons why you think this person, oh, is a bad person, because none of those reasons will justify this particular execution. So how about we focus on the fact that this execution should not have happened? It should not have happened. I mean, these women, these people, I think it was seven women and one gentleman. They should not have died. And enough with this, coddling all these killers. And look, I'm not into blaming, this particular thing on white folks, because that's not who did this. Who did this is one. This dude did this. This individual did this, and he's the one that we need to focus our ire on. And anyone like him who does what he does. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know who carried the gun in this case. He's confessed to the police. So I'm not gonna go beyond that and say, oh, every person I see on the street who was of that persuasion, who's a Caucasian, who was white, oh, they're all equally guilty. That's dumb. That's intellectually lazy. That's you not trying to think through a situation. Because this dude did that. And any other person who subscribes to his mindset. And that the thing I'm trying to say is you can't tell that by looking at people all the time, right? Because you can't look at a person and say, yeah, I bet he believes that Asians, deserve to die for the coronavirus. Now, if that person's, expresses it, if they're making T-shirts about the China virus, then you know what this person is thinking. If they're, I mean, most of some of these people, they're not ashamed to say it. They come out and say, if you're here, drop me a line, get a comment. What do you think about these killings, and how do we stop the hate? How do we stop the hate? How do we stop the hate against Asians? How do we stop the hate against African Americans? How do we stop the hate against women? How do we stop the hate against people with different sexual orientations? Because the hate is never the answer. The hate will never be the solution. Oppressing people will never be the solution to anything you think. And the nerve, the idea that your beliefs and your thought process, gives you the right to take someone else's life it's just asinine. I don't want to say it's crazy, because sometimes when you say that, it makes it look like the killer, oh, is just mentally disturbed. And that's not what we're saying. Because especially in a case like this, where he goes out and kills these people, but he doesn't kill himself. He lets himself get arrested. So he's really not ready to die, but he's ready to take the lives of others. The coward that he is. I mean, if you have an issue and you want to take your own life, first of all, I advocate get help. Get help. You don't have to, suicide is not the way. I can't say more than that from my perspective. You know better what you're going through in your life. But my brother, my sister, there can be hope. There can be light for you. There can be hope. There can be light. Whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're going through, I suspect there are other people in life who've dealt with that and they came out on the other side. And I believe there's hope for you. But that will never be the excuse. That will never be the excuse for you to go out there and take the lives of other people while you preserve your life. What kind of crazy is that? The kind of madness that allows you to preserve your life, but you're crazy enough to take the lives of others? I don't buy it. I don't buy it. And that's why a killer like this should take the consequences of his actions. He should pay for what he did. He should pay for what he did. And he should pay severely. and we need to make sure that justice is done. We need to keep shouting until people like this are dealt with. It needs to be dealt with. There is no circumstance under which we should be quiet about this. Asian Americans are speaking up, talking about how they're getting attacked. We should join them. We should join them. Those of us who are part of a community that's always been under attack, we should join them. We should lend them the benefit of our experience in this fight. Let's form bonds. I see people come out and say, "Oh, some Asian communities don't come out on our fight." This is true in some cases, but some do come out. So you're going to turn your back on the ones that do come out because of the ones that don't? That's not wise. Secondly, maybe when you come up and you show that your fight against discrimination is for everyone to be free, you might end up changing the hearts and minds of those who ordinarily would not come out for your fight. But if we come out en masse as a people, online, everywhere, and show that we also want to stop the hate against the Asians in this country and all over the world, then all of a sudden you get people looking at you and say, well, that's a fight that we can all get behind, when it's a fight that always goes after, the oppressor in every situation. What am I trying to say? We need to fight against hate, no matter who the victim of the hate is. That's when our fight will be successful. That's when we're going to have victory. That's when we're going to prevail. We shouldn't segregate the struggle. We're segregating the struggle, and it's not going to work. It's not going to work. The elections we just had required a coalition. It wasn't just Black people that got the change that we wanted. It wasn't just Asian people. It wasn't just Latinos and Latinas. Like we found out, like in Florida, like Donald Trump won a lot of votes among the Hispanic community over there, especially the Cuban community. So what are we talking about? So you needed some other groups to balance that out. That's the math of it. That's the math in every struggle. What are your numbers? What is your strength? And the strength in numbers comes from coalition building. And so in a time like this, we all need to speak up and say no hate against Asians. We all need to speak up and say it in the same way. When we all speak out, then we know that we're onto something. But if you're quiet and you sit in your corner and you say, "Yo, you have your reasons," or you're quiet and you're not saying nothing just because, you don't feel that that group really fought for you when you were fighting, so you're just gonna reciprocate by not helping them. We're just cannibalizing our strength. We're just cannibalizing our assets. We're destroying our opportunity to really prevail. It's a dumb strategy. Just strategically, it's dumb. If you're here, drop me a line, man. It's your boy GFK, and I'm here saying stop the hate. Let's stop the hate. Let's stop all the hate. I'm not gonna just speak up when it affects my community. I'm gonna speak up when it affects other communities too. We're all in this together. We can win together. If we stay divided in our struggle, then our struggles are gonna continue. Our struggles are gonna continue. And it's not gonna make sense. And we're not gonna prevail. We're not gonna have victory, you know. And that's why I'm here tonight saying that it's unacceptable what happened in Georgia. It's unacceptable what happened to these people. And we need to find a way. We need to find a way to make sure that we don't end up, I don't know how else to say it. People don't deserve this. They don't deserve to die. They don't deserve to lose their lives like this. They don't deserve to lose their lives like this. And of all the things that I see a lot of people want to come out, you want to come out and remind yourself of all the reasons why you're not going to come out and help this community, because you're saying, oh, this community has not been helpful to you, or this and that. And I'm saying we can't treat it like that. We can't do it that way. You know what I mean? We can't do it that way. We need to keep the same energy where we see oppression anywhere. We need to keep the same energy. Our heart goes out to all those families in Georgia right now, the Asian community. The rise in hate against Asians and attacks of elderly Asian people. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. We need to speak out. And we need to shout down. I mean, to anyone that tries to justify this, anyone that tries anyone that tries to dilute the conversation. Y'all heard about this moron mophead, uh, this idiot Chip Roy, congressman from Texas. I don't know why these people feel like they have to put themselves in the position of the bad guy. It's like, it's like watching a movie and watching someone really fight to be the top bad guy. That's what the GOP looks like right now. That's what the right wing looks like right now. A bunch of people competing to see who can be considered the worst human being. That's what they're all doing. The Congress was voting to give gold medals, to give awards, golden awards to the Capitol Police for protecting congressmen and women with their lives. Something as basic as that, something as simple. And you have, I think, 12 Republicans in the Congress, including Marjorie Taylor Greene, who voted against that. Do you know what it takes to stand up and say, I'm voting against a measure that's meant to just appreciate the people who kept us safe? They couldn't do it. It's like they're fighting to be the worst versions of themselves. It's amazing. That's what the GOP is doing right now. They vote against the stimulus package, vote against recognizing Capitol Police, vote against the campaigning against the Civil Rights Act, campaigning against the Voting Rights Act that's coming up, promising to veto things that are supposed to help the people. Like I was talking about that stupid Chip Roy. Like you're standing up to dilute a hearing that's designed to raise awareness about the Asian community is facing and all the attacks on Asian Americans. And you think that's the right time for you to talk about how, well, how about the hate of Black Lives Matter rioters? You can have that conversation, but are you a child? Are you a moron? No, let me reverse that. You're a child and you're a moron because you're bringing that up while we're having a conversation of how to stop the attacks on the Asian community. Is really just a sign that you're not comfortable with us dealing with hate because you're on the side of the haters. That's all you've shown us. That's why you had to speak, Chip Roy. You're a bigot and you're prejudiced bigot. I'm not saying that out of some sense of not liking you. I'm saying that because I have looked at your actions and your words, and it's clear to me. And even in making your case, you made a reference to lynchings in a good way. You literally talking about stringing people up on trees in your conversation about what justice is with no thought, with no sense about what that means and what it refers to and who's being strung up and who's doing the stringing up. You see what I'm saying? You're so racist, you're so prejudiced that you can't even dilute your prejudice when you're speaking on the floor of Congress. That's another level. That's another level, man. And the shame of a nation that you have a Congress filled with these bigots and prejudicial pricks. They're all over the House chamber. That's the shame of this nation. That's the problem we're having now. And that's why some people ask me, oh, well, Trump is gone, you don't have to deal with it. No, no, no. The effect of Trump and the stench of what Trump, the bombs that he dropped on this nation, it's going to take a while to clean up. It's going to take a while to deal with because he's left little mini Trumps all over the place, like Chip Roy. What's up, BC? You're the builder. What's up? What's up, Mark? Yeah, I mean, I'm just talking tonight about. I'm just feeling so tight about these people that lost their lives, in Georgia, and the hate. And I'm trying to get my people to think about how, because I've seen some of my people say, well, yeah, they got these mini Trumps all over Congress, and they're coming out of the woodwork, and they're so proud. They're so proud. I mean, we're having a congressional session about stopping the hate and the attacks against Asian Americans, and this is the time for this dude to come up and say, well, what about the rioters? And you know what? And we believe in justice because we used to hang people up on trees. So don't tell me about justice. It's like, Oh, thank you for showing yourself, sir. Just mini Trumps everywhere. And they're in the state legislatures, and they're rolling back voting rights because they saw the wave, they saw the tsunami of minority voters, of African American voters in the last election, and they're shocked. They still can't believe it. That's why they're looking for dead voters, because they're so shocked at the turnout. And that's what I said. Trump was just Trump was fuel for the hate. Trump was fuel. Trump was like permission to let your hate fly. Speak your hateful truth. That's what Trump represented. And it's weird. I remember a post I had when he became president, and I said, I worry about Trump himself as a problem, but I worry more about what he will empower, what he will unleash. Because at the time when Trump became president, if you remember, even school kids were yelling at their colleagues in class to go back to their country, right? We had people grabbing the hijabs from the heads of women, on the street when Trump won. It felt like a liberation for the racists. It felt like a liberation for haters. If you're here, drop me a line. Yeah, so I mean, you're talking about we need to know that what Trump has done and Trumpism is still in the system. And the hate we're seeing manifest that has been showing itself, that hatred is is like an offshoot of that atmosphere. It's an atmosphere of permission. Like, do you have prejudice in your heart? It's like a TV commercial. Do you have prejudice? Is there a group of people you hate? Well, it's time for you to show that hate. That's what they're doing. Yeah, this is Dems need to wake up with all these voter suppression laws. If we lose the midterms in 2020, good luck with everything. That's it. And I said, and I told that I've been saying that. I've been saying that to I feel, well, here it is. One good sign, one good news, I think, is people like Chuck Schumer somehow have learned a lesson. They've learned a lesson from the last time, which is a miracle to me. Now, I feel the pain of political Democrats because they don't have the kind of majority in the House and Senate that would allow them to really, really go hard. At least in the House they kind of do. They're flexing, but in the House there's no margin for error. And I've always said, if you have a Joe Manchin and you have a Kristen Sinema, then you can't drive your agenda through. You can't, you can't do what you need to do, right? So there's a level to which I understand the struggle for Democrats in power, but the issue is whatever power you have, Democrats, you're right, Bissy. Whatever power you have, you need to use it now. You need to use it now. Joe Manchin said Joe Manchin is a Republican spy. I can't argue with you. The dude has been behaving like Mitch McConnell's pigeon. It's amazing. He's a link. It's like a remote control that Mitch McConnell has right now. Nah, you're right. He's a Republican spy. He's a spy. He's been behaving like that, and he's been doing it. I mean, look at what they did with the $15 minimum wage. Look at what they did with the threshold income level for those that will receive the stimulus. I'll tell you something. That's why I can't really celebrate my stimulus as much, because I feel for those who barely, miss qualification for the stimulus. And I talked to a brother of mine last week. The wife and they're both working hard. They're both doing extra jobs. And just because they make a certain amount, even though they qualified for the stimulus last year, all of a sudden under this new stimulus, they can't join us to celebrate 1,400, right? And part of that is because people like Joe Manchin and Cinema kept extracting concessions. I mean, I would say we need Joe to go also. But the truth is, I'll be honest, I'm afraid of who's going to take his place down there. You see that? If you didn't get it, it's like punishing you for working. You see, I mean, that's the thing. That's why I'm not celebrating my stimulus as much anymore, because I'm realizing when they passed the bill and the final version cut out a chunk of people. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, they're going to have to, you always have to have a threshold, right? But don't cut off people that were qualified last year. What is that? Why? How can I be qualified for the stimulus last year, and then when Joe Biden is president, I can't even get this new money. We all voted with the hope that we're going to get some help, some relief. So how am I going to sit here now and under Joe Biden, I'm being told I do not now qualify for stimulus? It's going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue. And 2022, man, you don't need any of these problems. But when you got people like Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema, you have to make concessions to pass your bills, and that's how you're going to end up with this. You know what I mean? That's exactly my. I said this last week. I said this last week, Bissy. Like, how are you making the threshold worse under Biden? That's a problem. I understand it, and I said, look, y'all should have offered Joe Manchin anything else. Offer Joe Manchin no, a library in his name. Do something, but don't let him push you to reduce the threshold to qualify for the 1400 stimulus that the whole nation is waiting for to celebrate it. Why would you do that? Now you pass the stimulus, and a whole chunk of people who were excited about getting the stimulus because they got the first one, now they're finding out they don't qualify. Are they supposed to be happy with the new administration? Are they supposed to feel better? I don't know how you fix that. I don't know if you can, but I hope the economy improves. I hope we start to do better. I hope we come out of Corona. Yeah, yeah. No, look, Missy, I'm telling you, I barely qualified because I took a hit. I qualified because I took a hit on my hours. That's what it means when you're a consultant. I barely qualified, but guess what? I feel the pain of those who didn't. I feel the pain of those who didn't. It's entirely unfair. If you're here, drop me a line. What's going on? I know it's a good time tonight. It's late, but that's how my schedule is looking these days. I'm going to work it out. You know, I barely qualified because I took a hit in 2019 because some other things going on. So if I had my normal routine in 2019, which is what kind of they based it on, I would also be out here watching y'all celebrate 1400 and knowing that I'm not part of that. BC, while BC, yo, I'm telling you, I put it out late, so I just wanted to do something, man. Don't worry, I'm working out this time because my schedule is changing for everybody. My schedule is changing. I'm trying to work it out, but I don't want it to be like because of my schedule, I'm not doing my videos because there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. Yo, BC, I know it's been a while, man. Yo, the Georgia. Oh, by the way, BCOY and BC Matthews, you both missed. You both missed something. I'm gonna tell you. Before y'all came along, when I started the show tonight, for some reason I got a new guest, a new viewer on YouTube. Started out real nice. Disaster. I ended up muting the dude on YouTube, and but y'all could go see the. I don't know, BC. Will I have to release him for you guys to see all the arguments me and him had later on? Because that joint went bad quick. I was excited as somebody new, like, yo, on YouTube, you give me comments. I was like, oh, welcome, brother. Yeah, we're talking about the killings in Georgia and how it's tragic and how we need to fight. Next thing I know, I'm being called a house nigga. yo, BC, I'm telling you, man. BCOY, I missed you on that, son. And he was the only one on the stream with me. So it was constant me and him go back and forth. Oh my God. It's my first, I don't know if he's a troll or, hey, MJ Jags, what's going on? How you been? Oh man, look, I apologize for this time. I'm going to keep going back to me. I'm going to go back to a better time for you. I just love the fact they dropped in. I'll just tell him my BCs, my two BCs, how I spent the first 30 minutes of the show tonight dealing with someone. I don't know if he's a troll. I don't know if he's a heckler. He didn't start out as a troll, but me and him, we had a very horrible fight tonight. yo, listen. Right now, you see. Let me do this. Let me see if I release BCOY. Tell me, is this wise of me? If I release this guy, I want to release the guy. So because I muted him, right? I don't know how this works. I blocked him for 5 minutes, so maybe he left. But I'm telling you, I promise you, that's the most exciting, that's the most fun I've had in a while. Because We started out, me and him talking, and by the end, everybody joining in, welcome, drop me a note, let me know you're here. But you guys missed, though. You guys missed. I was in a fight tonight. You guys missed it. You guys missed it completely. And what was the fight? Basically, I was talking about the Georgia killings and how all of us need to come together and we need to have the same energy against hatred, any hatred against Asians, the same energy we have against hatred against African Americans. I was saying that we shouldn't be quiet at a time like this when the Asian brothers and sisters are getting targeted. We shouldn't be quiet. Our coalition needs to be strong. We need to build it so that when it's time for our fight, and I addressed the issue. I said it's true. I know a lot of people have a lot of objections. Say, oh, the way Africans are treated in Asia, in China, for instance, is unacceptable. The discrimination is so high, and that people have experienced discrimination at the hands of people in the Asian community. And my point is that does not form the basis for me to like say I'm going to turn my back when Asian Americans are being harassed and killed, because that doesn't solve the problem. You know, I'd rather go out there and still keep the same energy to say no hate towards my Asian brothers and sisters, and then have the conversation with my Asian brothers and sisters, asking them to help us fight. And you know, because don't forget, when you say people are discriminating or people are oppressing other people, don't paint with a broad brush. Like I was telling the guy, I said, look, if you're telling me that, oh yeah, how about all the Chinese people mistreating Africans in their country? That's a conversation. That's a fight. We need to have that fight. We need to push back. But unless you're telling me that the 6 women that were killed in Georgia are the same people that were discriminating against Nigerians in China, if that's what you're telling me, and you're telling me therefore they deserve to die, which I don't even agree with, but that's a different conversation. But that's not what you're saying. You're just saying, well, Asians are treating Africans in a bad way in China. Therefore, when I see Asians being treated horribly here, I'm just going to think about what they're doing to my people in China, and I'm going to let it happen. And I say that's a dumb strategy if you're thinking about ending discrimination or at least diminishing it, right? That's my position, that we're not going to end this. We're not going to end this if we decide that we're going to only speak up when certain groups are being oppressed. That's dumb. That's a dumb strategy. And I guess when I said that, I triggered the dude, because that's when he started coming at me like, oh, I'm only speaking for my Asian masters. And I was trying to do the math in my head. How are they my Asian masters? Because they didn't colonize my country and they didn't bring me to America as slaves. So in what realm are they Asian masters? And then he just started spouting off some slogans. And I said to him, oh, I get it. You're a moron. I'm sorry. That changes everything, because forget everything I said. Bro, it was fun. It was fun. I wish you guys were there. I felt lonely though, because it was just me and him for like 30 minutes, bro. I never said, and he came in like a yo. He said I was beautiful, son. He said I was beautiful. So I thought me and him was tight. Next thing I know, I'm a house nigga. Next thing I know, I'm being accused of so much stuff. I'm like, I expect that from multiple trolls, right? How one guy gonna give me all my trolling in one night? I'm not that. I don't like that. I want my trolling to be, my heckling to be done spread out. You know what I mean? Let me get 2 hecklers a night and then we could go at it. But I'm just so shocked the way yo, you see, it was fun. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it gave me a chance to exercise some other mental muscles that I have not been exercising. But I was shocked, like, yo, when you come and let me see, put user in timeout, block user. No, I want to unblock him. BC, where are you? BCOY, tell me, how do I unblock this dude so y'all can see the comments from when he came in? Oh, yo, he called me a house nigga. He said I was an Asian puppet. And what else he say? He said I should go back and eat my jollof rice, which he thought was offensive, but I took as a suggestion. He said, go back and eat your jollof rice, Nigerian jollof rice. I'm like, thank you. Yo, mm, yo, y'all missed. That was heavy tonight, man. Like when I go back and watch the YouTube clip, maybe I can share it privately, like MJ Jackson. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun. But like I was saying before, man, the right wing in America has begun to show itself in full colors as just a side of hate. You know, they're just they're so proud of the hate right now. And I was talking about that idiot Chip Roy, you know, the congressional session that was designed to talk about the hate against Asian Americans and how to stop the hate and to bring awareness to the issue. And that's what he chose as an opportunity to come in and say, how about the victims of Black Lives Matter? Yeah, yeah. Basically, how do I get that? I mean, it's on my it's on this feed. It's on the YouTube feed from this live. So tell me what you know about that. Yo, yeah, I know you're at work. Maybe when you watch it later. But I think maybe when you play it back, it might have the guy's comments. Yeah, but dude, yo, dude, nah, it was funny. The thing is about it is like I think what got me was he started out like a Trojan horse, bro. Because he came in like a hurricane, like a wrecking ball. He came in like it was sweetness and light. Next thing I know, he was like, "Well, why you ain't speaking up for the discrimination against?" Like, I just said that, bro. I just talked about that, but I'm just saying that's not a reason for me not to care about what's happening to Asians here. It was like, "Oh, you're Asian masters. You just like the plastic rice." I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute. There's a malfunction here, and it's in your brain, bro. Like, there's a wire. Your wire is touching. Have you seen it? It's the red one. It's touching in your brain because you started to yo, nah, I couldn't handle it, man. And it was just me and him, man. This time frame is ridiculous. And I put out I put out the notice so late because you know I just wanted to drop something tonight. So I take the blame for that. But I didn't expect to have just one person with me showing me Pepe. This dude said his name is Mateo. Oh, well, Mateo showed me Pepe. But then when I realized that Mateo was showing me Pepe, I began to explain to Mateo how much of an idiot Mateo is. That's when he started getting really angry and calling me a house nigga. That's when I knew I won. That's when I knew I won. Oh, yo, busy, right? This time is good for you. Yeah, listen, I might do more than one. I might do more than one because my schedule is changing too. BCOY is upset because I should have been checking with him so we can work it out. But I had to drop something, you know. But what I'm saying is, my point tonight is like my African American community. We need to speak up against this injustice and don't give room for these people to. When I say these people, these killers, to come up here and tell us what to think about what they did, right? Because that's the other thing that got me really upset, right? And I know that the sheriff spokesman has apologized. Is it Mateos? Delete all his messages. I'm telling you, man. Yo, you know, because I'm talking about how, you know, these killers come out and they want to tell us how to feel about what they did. Imagine this guy that killed in Georgia, you know, saying through the police that, oh nah, it wasn't race based. Yeah, like we're gonna listen to you about whether or not what you did was race based. You killed 6 Asian women. Yo, talking about a bad day, BC, like a bad day. Do you know what I do on a bad day, bro? I curl up and sleep with some music. What are you talking about? Who cares about what kind of day you having? Who cares about what kind of day you're having? Don't kill people, son. How is killing them having your bad day that doesn't end you dead, but they're gone? Get out of here. And that's why people are upset with that sheriff's that police officer who came out to tell us about that because he didn't contextualize it. He described it as a matter of fact, like, yeah, he was having a bad day. No. I would have been less upset if you said he was having a bad day, but we don't care. That's the way you should have presented that joint. That's the way you need to present that joint. You had a bad day and then you killed them. What have they got to do with your bad day? And they have the nerve to try to inject this narrative into the story about his sexual fetish and how he wanted to get rid of them because they were tempting him. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know where that comes from. If you're the one with the issue, you're the one you should deal with. Don't end people's lives. I put some of the faces of the victims on the flyer for the show tonight, and I put some of the names of the victims on the descriptions because I just had to go and find out more about the victims. They had these immigrants. I think the one lady who who owned one of the spas. She, you know, is coming from China, worked her way up, bought her own business. You know, hired these people. They had the guy who's a handyman, who's a, you know, a contractor working on some plumbing or some shelving and he got killed. He had this lady who went with her husband to just have a spa day. The husband had to escape through another window, and and the lady got killed. It's a white lady, and apparently the stories about her, like, she was such a wonderful person, where she was known for opening her doors to strangers. She was known for embracing people, and she lost her life. A mother, a single mother, is one of the women that got killed. One of the women that got killed of Asian descent, and she was raising two boys on her own. And just the stories that these people are going, the lives he took, This man was just there helping the spa to set up some shelves, doing his job, and you took his life. This man and his wife went there to have a good day at the spa, like a husband and wife just say, "Baby, let's go to the spa. We're gonna treat ourselves, just give ourselves a break from all the stress." I mean, just a romantic thing that a husband and wife was doing, and then you're over here spraying people with bullets. I mean, like, for crying out loud. Why is your anger not? Why is your anger not, manifested in duck hunting? Why don't you go out into the jungle and do drills? Why you got to go to a spa and kill these people? These people, many of them came to America for better life. They're working hard. They're building businesses, raising families. He just took them out. So I will hear nothing of how he was feeling. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They always arrest these. I went around getting ABC, man. ABC what? They always arrest these cats on, without a fight. And I get it if the person you're arresting surrenders, you know. But I know that you're still able to rough them up when you pick them up, because that's what we're fighting against. Because Trump told you don't be so nice when you put their heads in the car. The reason he's saying that is because y'all be putting people's heads in the car roughly, and people get injuries even after they've surrendered. George Floyd was not a threat, and that's what I put on my post. Mass killers are getting this kind of treatment, but you're gonna have somebody selling loose cigarettes in Staten Island, and he can't breathe, and you choke him up, and he's dead. George Floyd, you accused him of passing a fake $20 bill, dead. But the dudes that are actually spraying and killing 6 to 8 people, Dylan Roof, right? Dude at the Black Lives Matter protest that came across state lines. All those dudes, not only do they get arrested with such, what would I call it? They get arrested with such deference that we see pictures of them after they're arrested, after they do the horrible deed. You see pictures of them and they look okay. Nobody's roughed them up. Nobody's roughed them up, which should be the case with everybody you arrest. Unless somebody really resists arrest and you have to fight them. But we've seen so many videos where people are not even given the chance to resist arrest. At the point of arrest, you're already roughing them up and shooting them and shooting at them and covering their heads with bags. But when it comes to these dudes with the AK-47s and the rifles, oh, somehow they can walk to you and you pat them on the back, you buy them lunch, and you come out and explain on their behalf that they had a bad day. This is amazing. Yeah, they feed them and give them water. It's amazing. And they let them go home. That's the other thing I heard this week. So the FBI narrowed down some of the rioters, particularly the ones that were involved in the death of the police officers. And one of them that was arrested apparently he was one of the ones that was throwing the fire extinguisher at the police officer who later died, or maybe he was spraying the bear spray. Long story short, arrested, brought before a judge. Court date is set. The judge released him to go home so he can come back for his next court date from his house. We heard about another woman who was allowed to go on a vacation between court dates. Are you seeing what I'm saying? This is the pattern. And that's why I say when things like this happen, it just makes me so angry when there's some people that want to come up and say, oh, we're exaggerating when we talk about systemic racism. Like, you need to shut all the way up. You need to shut up all the way. because these examples have blown all of that out of the water. Everything from January 6th is a confirmation of all we've been saying, that the disparate treatment of people of certain, how would I call it? Certain look, a certain appearance, and the people that are of different appearance and how they're treated. Let me read this from BCOY, man. He said, it happened in front of me live. A black guy high and causing problems was given one order, then tased. 3 days later, a white guy, same scenario, multiple warnings, no tasing, nothing. I called them boys one. I was like, why didn't you tase him like you tased the black guy 3 days ago? Of course, they didn't have an answer for me. I went around wearing this guy. I'm even glad they didn't tase you for asking them that question. BC, that was kind of brave. That was kind of brave. But me, BC, we saw that. We saw the story. We saw the. Did you see that video of whatever his name was, who fought the two police officers and took their car after he tased them on the ground? This dude fought the cops, the two police officers, and the whole time they hesitated to even tase him, bro. He was beating the crap out of them. They had their tasers, but they had so much restraint. They were very focused on de-escalation when he was a white dude. And then after he beat them, he took their car and drove off. It was like a comedy show. BC, just thank God now. Thank God. You know how it is now. You know how it is when you have in your mind a scenario and you think, if they do this, I will do that. We all know it doesn't always work out the way you plan. I'm glad you didn't taste them. I'm glad you didn't taste you. God is keeping you for us. Because these people are, we don't want, you see, a lot of these scenarios, they happen and then you hear about it later and they're like, hey, yeah, what happened? They shouldn't have done that to that guy. BC Matthews, the guy beat the cops and he ran away with their car. And the whole time they hesitated, they did not want to tase him, talk less of shoot him. If ever there was a case just where you are justified in tasing and shooting somebody, that was it. But they let him go. To take them with the Holy Spirit. That's right. Fight them spiritually. MJJX. Fire. Now, die. Yo. Listen, Suffolk County, man, if you go, the deeper you go into those places, the more your life is in God's. No, those boys are not playing. Because they are not really used to people like you coming to that neighborhood. So you watch yourself. Who are you here to see? Yo, I'm telling you, when you think about the suffering that we are and that's why we need to band together, man. We need to band together. Anybody who's suffering, let's join all the other people that are suffering under this oppression, discrimination, and let's fight together. We have a better chance of winning. We have a better chance of winning. And that's what I was saying before I was so rudely attacked. My boy Mateo, I wonder if he's going to be coming to all my live streams. He's going to be wild. Yo. So at least I get, we just, I think I come back to the same word. I come back to the same word, compassion. Compassion. Let's just feel for other people. Let's feel for others. Like I was telling BC Matthews, I feel for anybody who did not get this stimulus and who needs it. The idea is that there's a category of people who are doing so well that they don't need this 1400, they don't need any help. Fine, I know there's that stratus, but the art of dividing the line, or finding the dividing line and locating that sweet spot where you can separate those who don't need it and give it to those who do, that's one of the toughest things to do, because the government's assessment of who needs this money can never be on point with people's actual experiences. So before you can tell me that I'm making too much for me to qualify for 1400, you have to be able to convince me that you know exactly what my story is and what my situation is. If you cut off the income level for the stimulus at 75K, for instance, are you telling me that because I make 76K, a K more, I don't need the stimulus? So that's, but empathy is what I'm talking. I feel for those people. if I qualify for the stimulus because I had a bad year in 2019 and that's the year they used, and I just barely made it to qualify, I feel for those who had their regular income and they're just above the threshold and they've been cut out of this entire celebration. And I don't feel like celebrating or making too much noise about my stimulus because I cannot help but think about them. That's it. They punish people for working hard. They punish not just for working hard, but for pulling it together and trying to take care of their families. Some of these people that you're talking about, oh, they made so much money. They work 2 jobs. They work incredible hours. So it's like, you're making it seem as though they're so rich they don't need help. But what you're missing is even with the amount of money they're making, they still need help because you don't know their family story. And that's why it's so disturbing. But I'm tying it together with this issue of empathy. Like we need to feel for each other. We need to feel for each other. We can't live this life and turn our backs on people because we're doing okay. It's not fair, And for the Biden administration, honestly, everything else looks good. You passed the stimulus. You're working on the vaccine. You passed your 100 million vaccines that you promised. You're fulfilling promises, Uncle Robinette, Uncle Joe. You're doing well, but but you have a couple of issues. You got to sort out the border. You got to figure it out. I know that it's not something you sort out in your 50 days in office, like some idiots trying to make it look like this is something you caused. I think they don't know that this thing is a continuum. But I say to you, solve it quickly, as quickly and as well as you can. And this issue of some people not getting the stimulus, I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know if you can ever fix that. But I would love it if you have an address to just talk to them and make sure they know that they're upset. All right. If the economy picks up and we're all doing well by 2022, I know even those people will probably just vote for you still. But you got to talk to them. That's not that. This is exactly right. This is the narrative. Under President Trump, more people got stimulus, right? And that should never be a narrative that should be allowed to go on. But because of compromises with people like Joe Manchin in cinema, we're in a situation where some people who got money under Trump are doing worse under Biden. I don't know how you're going to fix that. Maybe if the economy gets so good, maybe they will forgive you. People like BC Matthews here. And I feel very much because I only missed that because of some challenges in 2019. My normal level of income would have cut me off also. And I would have been like, are you crazy? Who are you to tell me that I do not need $1,400? Are you mad? Do you know my bills? Do you know my creditors? Eh? Are you the one receiving when when they start sending you bills and the color starts changing on the paper they're using? When the bill is a pink bill and then a red one, and they start increasing the font on your bill? Do you know what that feels like? How dare you tell me I don't need stimulus? Eh? The worst part is my lazy neighbor chilling all through Corona. He has not gone out of the house all year. I've seen him now walking around like a rich man because of the stimulus. But me, that have been going and wearing masks in the pandemic, you are punishing me? You better have a system. You better have a way to remedy. You better have a way to help me understand. Do you know who my bills are? My bills. Do you know their names? Are you the one who has creditors driving slowly in front of the house? Are you the one? How dare you tell me that I do not need stimulus? Who are you? Who is your father? Yo, you see, those bills that change colors. when, when, when your gas company starts talking like the mafia, when they're like, hello, is that Mr. Karate? Listen, we've tried to reach you by cell phone. We've tried to reach you by air. We've tried to reach you underwater. But you are not listening. The next thing we're going to do is going to shock you. You better pay that bill. when you're at that level with your bill collectors, your creditors, you know that life is a more drive by creditor. When you see, oh boy, BC, I'm talking about creditors that creep like this. You see their van, national gas, national grid. They're like this. So you are home. You know, we can only pray that our creditors do not combine and form Voltron against us, because there will be no hope. Imagine if my Salime Navians people got in contact with National Grid and Cornelison to show me Pepe. You know, and that's why I feel bad, man. There should be. I mean, we shouldn't be excluding people from stimulus. At least not the ones who got money the last time. I understand you have to cut it off at a certain point, but don't cut it off at a lower point than the last time. That makes no sense to me. That was one compromise. Look, the $15 minimum wage, I always knew had to be a fight on its own. I always knew it was too big to fit into the stimulus. I knew that, even though I wanted it. But the stimulus itself should have been unmessed with, right? That was my whole thing. Uncle Joe, deliver the stimulus exactly as we are expecting, unmessed with. But instead, stimulus came, and you're now telling me that, oh, some people made too much, even though they did not make too much to collect the last year one. You better have an explanation for those people. You know what I mean? Yeah, let more people get it, you know? And I don't know what they're doing with the child credit that they're going to be giving that's supposed to be monthly. Maybe that will come in for everybody. If that's the case, that's a little something. That's a little something, you know? Just do something, man. Because 2022 is going to be real tight. The truth is, so far Biden is doing well. Democrats are doing well. If somehow they can manage to pass the voting rights bill and get rid of the filibuster, at least for that bill, then they're in stronger shape for 2022. And I hope they understand. They're talking as if they get it. Like Chuck Schumer is talking like he gets it. Biden is talking like he gets it. That you need to pass the Voting Rights Act, the Voting Rights Bill, and counteract all the rubbish in the states if you guys are going to have any shot in 2022. So this is why I didn't agree to the foreign aid added to the stimulus. Focus on America. We'll have a second bill. Focus on foreign. BC, the problem is foreign aid was not the problem. Foreign aid was not the problem, because that was not the reason, right? Because the reason was because the argument from the Republicans and subsequently from people like Joe Manchin, which BC Matthews has explained to us is a Republican spy. The argument was that the bill had to be targeted to those who needed the help. That's the argument they used to cut different parts of the bill. That's the argument they used to fight against the $15 minimum wage, because they were saying the bill has to be focused on COVID relief, and not just COVID relief, but COVID relief for those who need COVID relief. And the argument was not everybody, did poorly under COVID. The argument was some people kept their income and they didn't lose any money during COVID, and that was the argument. So the foreign aid was not it was not an offset for the threshold. They just compromised the threshold to please people like Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema, because the foreign aid amount of it was not significant enough to change the math on the actual stimulus. What they ended up doing is moving more money around within the 1.9 trillion in order to satisfy those guys that they won't be sending money to people making a certain amount, which is disappointing either way you look at it. So it's a sad thing, but I'm hoping they can overcome that by other victories they might get and other fights they might win. But that's a big gamble that Biden and Democrats did, that you could have a stimulus that everybody's celebrating, and there's a whole group of people who are not going to get it because you say they work too hard. You got to fix that. I don't know how you do it, but you got to fix it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy JFK. It's been great. I'm glad my people jumped in at the last minute. You made it so that it's not a completely empty session tonight. But we'll try to work out the timing. But like my message still remains the same. Let's speak up against hate, no matter what group has been hated on. Let's form a coalition. And I know you said something. I know BCOY, you had a comment about coming together. If all minorities band together, wouldn't that make white people the minority and in turn be racially disadvantaged? BC, you just hit on the reason why they're doing what they're doing. That's exactly why they're paranoid, because they're watching different minority groups. They're watching the growth of those they call minorities, And right, I mean, the demographics are changing, and it's scaring a lot of these white people. Yeah, stop the hate, no matter who's been hated upon. Just stop all of it. Stop all of it, and no more giving special treatment to these killers. No more special treatment for these bigots, these prejudiced misogynists. Someone was telling me, oh well, I had a conversation with a friend online who said that he believed that this guy's actions were more motivated by his misogyny against women than his racial tendencies, racist tendencies. And I said I don't buy that, simply because if you don't like women, then you probably, if you kill women, you probably kill women of all races, right? This guy didn't do that. This guy went into a particular business with the understanding, it's a place he's been before apparently, with the understanding that those who are there are of a certain ethnicity, and he killed them. And he went to two different spas, and both spas were owned by Asians. So it's hard for me to look at that and say it's just misogyny. The misogyny is there because of all the stupid descriptions of how he has sexual temptations, so they have to die because he has temptations. You see what I'm saying? But the racism, the permission structure that makes him think that he could get away with, or maybe not even get away, but that, he's justified in going in there and killing these people, is under this atmosphere where we were talking about, attacks against Asian Americans on the rise. So it's always in context. There's a context for this. Asian Americans are getting beaten up, slapped, robbed, attacked, people yelling at them, they'll go away with your virus. Oh, don't touch him. He's probably got the viruses from China. Like that kind of atmosphere of hate and prejudice and bias allows this kind of a human being to now rise up with whatever he's been holding in his heart for years, and to say, oh, well, I guess everyone's on the same page now, that people of this particular ethnicity are just evil and we need to get rid of them. Not to mention the women are such a problem for me, so I'm going to just take care of them in one swoop. So the racism is there. It doesn't negate the existence of the misogyny. But don't tell me it's just about misogyny, because it didn't kill women of all races. This was targeted, you know. Yeah, man. If we fight for equality, majority minority will not matter. But no, we want to be special. That's the fight I had with that dude in the beginning. He was trying to put me in a corner to say, "But why am I trying to defend Asians?" It's like, are you? No, let me rephrase that. You are a moron. You're an idiot. You're an idiot of different levels. Are you kidding me? So you're gonna sit back and let Asians be discriminated against in your community, and for some dude to come out, and kill, people of Asian ethnicity, and you're gonna sit back and say, yeah, that's not my fight. Oh, but then you want to rise up when an African American is killed and say, hey, don't do that. Like, are you a moron? Are you an idiot? How do you not see that the solution is to fight against oppression across the board and take away the weapons of oppression so that we can all be safe? I mean, how do you not see that? So, I mean, that's the thing that gets me with this. And I look, you can be justified in whatever reason for saying, well, I don't see Asians coming to our defense. That, I mean, first of all, like I said, that's not true, because some Asians came on board when I have come on board. Go look at all the protests. You'll find people of Asian descent, of Asian ethnicity involved in the fight online. You'll find them, people speaking out against police brutality against African Americans. So first of all, you're always going to mess up if you start with generalizations. That's how we got where we are. That's why I don't sit there and say, oh, all white people, this, all white. Nah, this white person, this crazy dude, this dude did what he did. And this dude deserves to be punished. And any other dudes or dudettes who have the same mindset, who either do something like this or are planning to do something like this, deserve to be taken and arrested and dealt with. These people need to pay for what they're doing. So I'm not going to paint the entire, population of white people with the actions of this white person, because that would be me doing what some of them are doing to us. And I tied to like my conversation last week about the royal family, about royal family and Meghan Markle. The royal family has a unique history of prejudice. It's their thing. They have a badge of prejudice, of racism. So that's different. Their racism is announced. Their racism is well known. So they have the burden of showing that they're no longer racist. So you see what I'm saying? So that's how I categorize. Like I said, this individual messed up. That royal family has been bold about, colonizing people of other races and living on this imperial power they had. So they need to now show that they're no longer like that. Until then, that's what we know about them. And so we act accordingly. So that's just, so generalizations are not going to work out. But when you have information specific to a person or a group, then that group or that person live by what they've put out as their own representation. If my group comes out and says we hate dogs, and we name our group Dog Haters of America, deal with us as dog haters, because we've come out to tell you who we are. And we've come out to act a certain way to show you who we are beyond just telling you, because your actions will speak louder. So this dude came out and killed women of Asian descent. So it's no longer a question. It's just reality. All right. So it's your boy JFK. We be out for tonight. BC, I'm gonna text you right away. I'm gonna text you right away. But thank you guys for stopping by tonight, man. I'm gonna see what happens. Maybe if you go on YouTube, you can see the videos. If I go back and watch it and I can release the comments, I might. But it just got disruptive at a certain point, so I had to silence it. But aside from that, man, it was fun. It's a different experience for me tonight. So maybe if I can share some of that with y'all, I don't mind.